Right, okay, so topic number 2. Specialists versus assassins. So, I'd like to think that we both can easily identify the difference between a specialist and assassin.
Yes.
Okay, so could you share with me some common traits about a specialist?
Well, from the different specialists that I've played so far, and I haven't played all of them, they seem to do a reasonable amount of damage while not being particularly tanky. So you have characters, if I'm remembering correctly, the ones I've played that are specialist is Sylvanas, Sergeant Hammer, Gazlo, and I think those are the only 3 specialists I've played so far.
You haven't tried Zagara?
I haven't tried Sagara yet because
Yeah.
she's not been in rotation yet for me.
Right, okay.
And the similarities between them, at least in terms of Sergeant Hammer and Sylvanas, is the range. Gazlo is more about, setting up traps and bombs and running around and potentially having the ability to repair towers, which I've not actually seen too much of a need for. It seems to be a wasted skill, in my opinion, is tower repair, but I digress. They kind of function within their own specialized, specialist skill set as kind of an in-between an assassin and I'd say a warrior or melee character.
Yeah, warrior character.
Warrior character, yeah.
Well, I certainly feel that with specialists that they are certainly more squishy than a DPS. They are very much about using special mechanics. So Sylvanas would actually very much shut things down, whereas Zagara would very much use banelings, so use things like minions and stuff to actually do distance attacks. And then you've got Sergeant Hammer, which is about heavy hitting damage from far away. So I always feel that Specialist is back of the line, where assassins are relatively, let's try and get a cheeky shot in there. Like maybe do the ultimate damage to kill something. Now obviously there are...
assassins just, they run in and run out very quickly. And they are, I would say that they're squishier than specialist characters.
Maybe it's just because I've been too used to Zagara, but I always feel that Zagara is like squishier than Vala and things, and Vala has the opportunity to run away with her Volt. Nova is very quick to just stealth away, so is Zeratul. Illidan's also quite quick, but Zagara I feel is quite slow, and specialists are often the ones I feel people go for the most. It's like, oh look, there's a specialist Zagara, let's just kill the Zagara, and then we only have 4 people to deal with. So,
I would say, though, that in the times that I've played as Kerrigan, I've definitely been targeted very quickly by, especially in quick match scenarios, by groups of people. If I am alone as an assassin, I tend to get picked off really quickly if the opportunity presents itself because of the DPS.
But if you're in a large group, do you find that people will go for you over like a healer, sorry, like a Lily or Stitches, or just anything else, a different role, will people target you, or will they typically target someone else first? You as the assassin.
If memory serves me correctly, yes. Especially if I've stake of not moving fast enough and getting too far into it, I will be targeted first over the others because of the squishiness of assassins.
Right. Okay. So let's get on to the topic now. So the topic is pretty much saying that they don't see a point in having assassins and specialists because they're both. The specialist does a lot of damage. They can get the mercenaries, and they can push lanes, right? Whereas assassins can only deal damage, and anything else is a lot riskier. So, like, if an assassin goes for a mercenary camp, the assassin has to be very careful because the mercenary camp could kill the assassin. And I do agree with that. I do find it a lot easier with a specialist. Like Zalgara, I just throw down the creep. I've got the talent which heals me while I'm on the creep, and then I just start picking off a bruiser camp. When I'm playing Vala, I have to do that much later on to try and prevent them from killing Vala, or killing me, so it's a lot harder. So the question is, what is the point of the assassins? And, well, do you feel that there's... how do you feel about assassins and specialists? Is there a point to having both?
Well, perhaps, I mean, in terms of how they're named, you have sort of assassins that are ranged and assassins that aren't ranged. For example, Kerrigan is not a ranged assassin. Her skills focus on being able to pull people towards you and then deal a lot of damage. Whereas Vala is, as a ranged assassin, deals damage from afar. But neither of them are particularly pushy. Now, Sylvanas and Sergeant Hammer, those two characters are very pushy when used correctly, and especially against towers. Sylvanas is able to momentarily silence a tower to prevent it from firing, and then she can do a lot of damage to it, whereas Sergeant Hammer can bombard a tower from a comfortable distance without getting attacked. So I would actually ask the question, are specialists too overpowered versus the assassin?
Well, that's a good question. I'm going to conclude... Sorry, I'm just going to say this one point that I've got on here. The original post states that the only way to really fix the situation between the specialists and the assassins, make a bigger, clearer distinction, is make it so that specialists do more damage to structures and minions and less to enemy heroes. And in all honesty, I don't agree with that. But sorry, going back to your question, what was your question?
My question is, are specialists overpowered in terms of the damage that they do?
I wouldn't say so, because the situation... Okay, so if the situation is you've got a Sylvanas on her own against no one, and she is pushing a lane on her own, I think that's more of a case of good on her, she's taking an opportunity, but she's at massive risk. if, say, a Vala turns up to fight the Sylvanas will have to leg it, because the Vala will undoubtedly kill the Sylvanas.
Yeah.
That is my feelings. I could be wrong. Because, you know, as soon as Sylvanas has stopped popping off her Q arrows, I can't remember what they're called, then, you know, she's got absolutely nothing, whereas the Vala has hungering arrows, she can be dealing more damage. So, the Vala will actually can do more damage based on the number of minions she's killed and things like this, depending if she's stacked for hatred or discipline. Or no, it is hatred.
Hatred, yeah.
Yeah, so I feel that an assassin can take out a specialist quite easily. Likewise, I feel a warrior can come and just go, "Hi, I'm Muradin. I have just knocked you out. I'm now wailing on your face. You're trying to run away? I've knocked you out again. I'm still wailing on your face. You're trying to run away again? I've knocked you out even further and I'm still wailing on your face." So I feel that specialists, as the name implies, are very specialized characters, but in no way, shape, or form are they designed to be overpowered.
Okay.
And I think they are granted opportunity. Sorry, they're granted advantages, but they're also given disadvantages. And I think those sorts of things can cost specialist players the opportunity to win. I know Sylvanas, her rank 16 talent, the one I always go for is, I can't remember off the top of my head, it's basically, she uses the shadow dagger, or whatever it's called, on enemies, and they take an additional 25% damage. I've used that on people while on my own, and I've not managed to kill them, but I've brought them so close to it. You actually have... Right. If I'm the Sylvanas and I hit that against enemies, and then an assassin like, say, Vala does strafe, which is like, you know, spin to win, shooting everything, she will probably kill all of the enemies that were hit by the shadow dagger. And I think that's the big thing about it. That is the big important factor about these sorts of characters. The specialists, yeah, they can do lots of damage. Yeah, they can kill off people and things. They can pull off some really fluky things. But at the same time, I wouldn't necessarily say they're the same as assassins.
No, I don't think that they're the same at all. Specifically because an assassin, as you mentioned earlier, couldn't handle taking a camp by themselves. And specialists tend to do better at not you know, the sorry, I'm struggling to remember which one is which. The siege camps, which is the... Is that the 4?
No. The bruiser camps are the 4. The siege camps are like the 2 giants that throw the rocks or whatever.
Yeah, so being able to solo a siege camp, as a and that is the one I'm specifically thinking about, is something that a specialist is able to do, and that is a benefit to the team, being able to sneak off and get some extra, you know, help from mercenaries. And you'd be hard pressed to have an assassin do that, and that therein lies the difference, I think, or one of the differences.
So in the replies, it says like assassins can do burst damage and have some general form of crowd control, whereas specialists only provide DPS, like a constant stream of damage, and have no crowd control. How do I feel about this? I'd certainly say Vala doesn't. Well, the only crowd control Vala has that I can think of is she can slow down enemies with her attacks, or one of her attacks, her multi-shot. How do you feel that Kerrigan has any form of crowd control?
He does have the spikes that shoot up from the ground.
They stun, don't they?
Yeah, they stun. And if you sort of time it right and position it correctly, you can get more than one player or creep. But the way that the creeps end up clustering, I've not been able to get more than maybe 4 at a time, because of the way their hitboxes are positioned. So you can do a reasonable amount of crowd control, but you know, being able to finagle it so that you can get, you know, more than one hero is, I would say, particularly difficult because there is, you know, a delay.
Yeah, the other character I've played a lot of is Nova. Now, I'm actually currently flicking through Nova now, and I am very sure she does have a slow. Find it. But if she's not, no, she has crippling shot, which means other people. So that the target takes a lot more damage. She does have her double decoy, which basically means she can actually have multiple decoys.
Yeah.
She has like
and
2
she can
decoys.
also enable the decoys to do damage as well, which is a follow-on skill, I think.
Yeah, but that's not really. Oh wait, sorry. Just hold on. I'm just checking one of her basic abilities, which is pinning shot, which is slows down an enemy target. So yeah, so she does have some form of crowd control. So I think I would certainly say that assassins do have some form of crowd control, whereas do specialists have crowd control? I mean, I'd argue that Sylvanas' Wailing Arrow, the fact that it silences enemies, I'd say yes, that's a form of crowd control. But I think Sylvanas is the sort of diamond in the rough. I think she's like the one character that does exactly that. She does have a form of crowd control. Obviously, Sergeant Hammer has the concussive burst, which is just to throw enemies back or get them away. But yeah, no, I certainly feel that maybe that statement is actually true. So that would be in essence one clear distinction: the fact that assassins have more CC than specialists.
Right.
Then there's another statement here, which is the main difference between the two is that you can generally run away from a specialist, but not easily from an assassin. So assassins typically chase you down, or they slow you down, or whatever. And yeah, I'd certainly agree with that. The number of times I've run away from a Zargara or Sylvanas or Sergeant Hammer, yeah, no, I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Specialists do more damage over time, but they have a hard time killing a target unless they are CC'd. Completely agree.
I do as well. It is I have found it very difficult to kill a character, another hero, by myself as Sergeant Hammer. Oftentimes when playing Sergeant Hammer, I find that the enemy hero will get too close and I'll have to come out of siege mode and, back off. Because the amount of damage that can be done to Sergeant Hammer up close is a lot. She's a bit, even though she's in a tank, she's squishy.
Yeah. So no, I completely agree with this. And actually, it's quite funny. The next point is actually assassins versus specialists should really be made as a per hero comparison. So you shouldn't really generalize them because, I remember asking the question, out of all of the assassins, who has a stun? So obviously Karrigan has a stun, but then I think the only other assassins that we found that had stuns were Xeno and Thrall.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this was also pre Kael'thas, so if Kael'thas does any stuns, I'm unaware of it.
Yeah, I haven't had the opportunity to play as Kael'thas yet.
Yep, so assassin versus specialist should be really a per hero thing, so Sylvanas versus Vala, Nova versus Zalgara, Thrall versus Sergeant Hammer, Nazebo versus Jaina. It should be per hero.
It is difficult to, I would say, typify a class of hero. I think it can be done, but in terms of having an all-encompassing definition for the different class types, I think it's a difficult one to make because each individual assassin and each individual specialist have those specializing skills to them. Are they, ranged? Are they melee? Are they, various other categories?
Right, okay, well, we'll bring this episode to an end. Sorry, not this episode, this topic. That's going to get hard to get used to. So we'll bring this topic to an end. Do we feel that there is a clear enough distinction between assassin and specialist?
Yes.
Right. Okay then. So that's our answer. Certainly, we should both. We should keep both. Right. Okay then. So that's the end of topic number 2.